Hey everybody, John here from the Sports Department going over the LPL LCK slate for tonight, and we've got some bangers, boys. We got some bangers on this slate. Definitely going to be a fun one, and I'm not even 100% sure what I'm doing yet. I looked at the games, and I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing yet, but it's going to be interesting. I'm sure I might make my decision at the 23rd hour tonight. But what we got to start off with, BLG plus 425. They are 4-7 on the season and 0-7 against winning teams, so not a lot of luck. All of their losses coming to winning teams so far, all of their wins coming against losing teams. Very Origin-esque from BLG here. They're up against JDG, minus 750, who is 10-2 on the season, 6-1 against winning teams. JDG has not looked infallible this season. Yageo's not having his best season. Kanavi's not having the kind of season he was having last season, although he's still having a very good one. Zoom and the bot lane are still playing fantastically. There's definitely a reason that JDG is minus 750 in the matchup. Looking at the stats, 1867 to 1714, plus 161 to minus 80. Slight edges in both First Blood and First Turret for BLG, but the Dragon percentage 14% to JDG. And at 15 minutes, plus 122 to plus 330. So JDG, here's what's so rough for BLG here. JDG isn't even a team where you can get a lead on them and snowball it very well because they're such a late game power team. Like when you see a team that's 10-2 and only plus 330 at 15 minutes, that's telling you they are crushing the mid and late games. And so it's not even like BLG can just get a little lead on them and try to snowball it through. You'd actually rather, if you're a BLG backer, you'd actually rather see JDG like plus 2,000 at 15 minutes. Because then it's telling you, yeah, they're always ahead at 15 minutes, but what if they're not? Like, what if BLG comes out and gets an invade and gets a few kills there? Then maybe JDG doesn't have it when it comes to the late game. But that's not what's happening here. I will say BLG is probably a team that's not going to get played enough on this slate. It's not that they're that they have a super live shot of winning or whatever, but probably they're going to get avoided to the point where playing them is good. In the big GPPs tonight, I might find myself on some BLG. JDG hasn't looked infallible, and I think that they could take a series here. They really need this series. BLG does. I haven't started talking about playoff scenarios yet, but BLG really needs to win this series as far as the playoff race goes. So, JDG may be a little bit more likely to be messing around in this game, trying out some stuff at 10-2. They're not going to miss anything. I don't think so. I think JDG wins a huge percentage of the time, but BLG probably worth a flyer in some of these bigger tournaments. Skipping the second game. We're going to talk about that last. KT minus 145 over in the LCK. They are 4-7 on the season, 1-5 against winning teams. Coming up against Dynamics, plus 105, 4-7 on the season. 1-6 against winning teams. So very similar when it comes to like their overall record, their stats versus winning teams. They're all pretty similar there. In the individual stats, 17-12 to 16-75, so decent advantage for KT there. Goal differential per minute, minus 78 to minus 115. First Blood and First Turret, a lot more First Bloods for KT, slightly more First Turrets for Dynamics, and Dynamics actually leads the Dragon percentages as well by 3%. At 15 minutes, KT is just barely negative at minus 7. Dynamics is at minus 693. Dynamics feels like one of the livest dogs on the slate to me. They could certainly win this matchup, but I think KT is going to take this one personally. Dynamics is going to be reduced to a similar type of team as BLG to me. I'm just not really going to play them. Maybe in a huge field I might play them. The problem with Dynamics is, and we'll have to take a look and see if this holds up in the projections. My guess is even if Dynamics wins, they're not going to score well enough to be in the winning lineup. That's my issue with Dynamics. Now, their DPL is a lot higher than I remember. They must have had some bloodier games recently. KT possibly viable as a play here. 15.1 to a 17. You're looking right around 16 kill per win. That's not too bad. Let's see how that lines up. Going back up to that first matchup. In that matchup, BLG would be looking at about 16.5, but JDG looking at, 35.5, so 17.8. 17.8 for JDG, so a top target there for JDG in that matchup. KT not nearly as well off as Dynamic or as JDG, but still very playable. Everyone hear my daughter just singing in the background? Next matchup, Solheim 1 at plus 245, 1-10. Sandbox minus 360. They are 4-7 on the season. Both of these teams are 0-6 against other winning teams. So Solheim 1 is the, I believe, worst professional team in gold per minute in any of the major regions. And Sandbox, honestly, despite being 0-6 against winning teams, they've shown some stuff recently. They're even with like the mediocre stats that Sandbox has, you can still see that they pretty much crush Solheim 1 in every metric. They're negative 1257 and 15, and that's actually like twice as good as Solheim. Like Solheim's twice as bad as them. Personally, I don't think I'm taking a flyer on Solheim. Sandbox is going to be trying to get into the playoff race. They've looked better since Yamato showed up. I think Solheim's a team I'm probably just straight avoiding. If I was going to play them, I would be treating them more like a BLG, a long-distance flyer to throw in the really big GPPs. No real reason to think that they win this matchup. I don't really see where their advantage is at any position in this matchup. Maybe 80 carry, but even Hybrid's not having a great season this season. Yeah, I just don't really see the advantages here. So unless Sandbox would basically have to throw in the draft for this to be an interesting matchup, and I doubt that happens. As far as the actual scoring, Solheim would get about a 16 according to this, and we'd be looking at about 16.6 for Sandbox. So a decent expectation for Sandbox. Solheim has given up a lot of points. Sandbox feels like a very playable team to me. I'm guessing pricing-wise, let's have a look. Oh my god, so many people that aren't playing in the pool. Oh, it's because they added the CB LOL slate to this. Let me get these people out of here. Because I want to look at the pricing. If Sandbox is kind of cheap, which I'm guessing they might be, comparatively anyway, they might be playable in favorite stacks. No, pretty expensive. On Fleek 7,000. Fate 74. 74 is not bad, and 76 for Root's not bad. Summit 62, so you could probably fit Summit. I feel like there's some sort of weird one-off Sandbox lineups that are viable given some of those pricings. That's something I'll probably be looking into. On to the banger, boys. Invictus Gaming plus 150, 10-3 on the season. Top Esports minus 205, 10-1 on the season. Arguably the two best teams in the LPL this season with JDG. Against winning teams, IG is 3-3. Against winning teams, Top Esports is 4-1. So both these teams have performed fine against other winning teams. Top, obviously, significantly better. Looking at the stats, 19-13 to 18-34, so big advantage to Top. Same in gold differential per minute. They win First Blood and First Turret. They win Dragon by 5%. And at 15 minutes, they're up about 1,200 more gold than Invictus. Now, that said, Invictus' stats here are including the beginning of the season when they were really kind of struggling. If you only looked at the most recent weeks, I'm guessing Invictus would be pretty close to Top Esports here. And I think this is a straight banger. I can't wait to popcorn this game. This one is going to be so much fun to watch. I think Top Esports is going to win. And coming from me, that probably means a little something, because two of my biggest winning nights this entire year were the other two times that Invictus Gaming was underdogs. And I picked them both times. They won both times and broke slates and made me a lot of money. So I should be biased towards playing Invictus again here as an underdog. But I think Top probably wins. The thing is, for all the talk, I'm going to have to go back and just see if maybe I'm just incorrect about this, but for all the talk that I'm seeing, I don't think Rookie's been that good this season. I actually think Baolan's been fantastic since he's been back. Puff's been pretty good. I think Ning has been starting to play back at his old level again. The Shy has really come around since the lineup came together. Rookie, I've seen it make a number of non-standard mistakes for him. I mean, obviously he's good. Don't get me wrong. It's not like he's having a bad season. But I don't think he's having an elite season the way that I've seen other people talking about. Last season, I thought he was having a completely elite season where he was basically dragging IG around by their ponytail. But this season, I haven't seen it as much. I think Knight is going to just absolutely crush the mid lane in this matchup. If anything, I think Invictus could possibly have an advantage in the bot lane. But it does bring back the banger factor again, because this is Jackie Love against Invictus. The other four members that he won Worlds with are all playing on the IG starting roster now. So it's Jackie against his 4 old teammates. Um, if anything, that probably gives more of an advantage to Invictus or to Top Esports. Jackie might have some things to tell his team about the way that Invictus likes to function, where them knowing how Jackie likes to function, I don't think will be as important. I'm going to go with Top Esports. That said, Invictus Gaming is the livest dog of the day for me. I definitely think Invictus could win this matchup. I think the odds would say the same. Nobody else. Oh no, Dynamics has them. I actually like IG more than Dynamics for sure. And the important part for the scoring, no matter who wins this matchup, it's supposed to be very high scoring as far as kill per win and death per loss goes. I'm not sure that you're going to get a 2-0 out of this one. Obviously, I generally don't think it's correct to try to predict 2 zeros and 2 1s, but this feels like a 2-1 series to me. One of these games, I feel like Invictus is just going to smash Top. And then the other 2 games, I think Top probably wins. So it's just an insane matchup. I'm so hyped for it. I can't wait to see it. Let's look at where the points are supposed to be coming from tonight as far as the favorites go. So, switch over to my pool here. In the top lane, it's all about Zoom, 369 showing up second, and then the LCK teams at the bottom. I'm guessing that's going to be a standard for this slate. Top Esports, actually, Sandbox pops up there above JDG. It's KT that's routinely at the bottom. Sandbox has been third, second, third so far, with Top Esports and JDG taking the top 2 spots. KT pops up on this one, Root not exactly showing out well. And Gorilla not showing out that well either. KT popping up from their bot lane. Kind of not surprising with how well aiming usually scores when they win, but nobody's touching the LPL matchups tonight as far as expectation goes. Looking at underdogs real quick, let's look at the dogs for this slate. I'm guessing Invictus dominates the dog numbers. Yeah, Invictus. Fofo actually out-projecting Rookie. I mean, that kind of fits in with what I was talking about. Wings out-projecting Puff. But it goes back to Baolan at support. So Baolan, Ning, and the Shy all out-projecting, and then at AD carry and mid, it's BLG with IG second. So really straightforward, like all the LPL teams are highly out-projecting. I definitely buy into that for tonight. Let's try to figure out ownership. It's not... I think this one's going to be pretty doable for ownership. So should be Solheim 1 as the lowest owned team on the slate, I would think. I think you're going to find BLG after that. Probably after them is Dynamics. And then I actually think you'll find KT all the way down here as well. I don't think people are going to want to play KT as their favorite on this slate. Probably we see Sandbox after that. Then IG. IG should get good ownership here. JDG, TES, and actually, I guess JDG should probably be at the top. If I think Invictus is going to get a decent amount of ownership, they have to take that ownership away from Top Esports. So probably JDG, Top Esports, Invictus, Sandbox in fourth. You could see IG switch with Sandbox. Sandbox is playing against... yeah, let's do that, actually. Let's go Sandbox IG, because Sandbox playing Solheim. I know a lot of people just like to play against Solheim whenever they can. This seems accurate to me. Fairly confident those are your bottom 4. Like, very confident. And that these are your top 4. Could be an edit between Sandbox and IG there. I think Top Esports and JDG will be the highest 2-owned teams, as they should be. For cash game lineups tonight... let's see, Sandbox and Top Esports makes the most sense. Or Sandbox and JDG, I mean, makes the most sense. Let's see what that looks like. That's a top lane captain. A 592 expectation. I kind of think that KT is actually pretty heavily favored tonight. So you could get a KT mid captain if you play them with JDG. If you wanted to go with the LCK special, you can get aiming captain on the 3-3 with KT and Sandbox. I think personally the Sandbox JDG. That's safer. It doesn't have quite the same upside. If you wanted to throw in KT, I would do it with JDG. and go ahead and get that mid captain. But that's definitely a riskier option. I think for me, I'm going with the sandbox and JDG safety option and let other people mess around with top esports. I'm not getting involved in that matchup in cash for sure. So that'll be about all for this one, guys. I'm kind of I know my videos on the weekend can be a little bit shorter because I got to get back to the games. Like I got to go watch some more LEC, man. I'm excited about that, and then MMA is tonight as well. So always busy on my Saturdays. But hopefully that's good enough. This is just a banger of a slate. I can't wait to get some popcorn out and watch this IGTES game. That's going to be must-watch television as far as I'm concerned. So I'll talk to you guys tonight. Good luck, and let's make some money, boys.